The iPhone 13 is Apple's 2021 flagship entry-level device, and it still actually is being used by so many people, as many people have decided not to upgrade to the 14. However, the Samsung Galaxy S23 series has definitely turned heads, and the S23 Plus might be an option you might consider trading your iPhone 13 in for, as they're giving $410 trade-in credit, which means that you can effectively get this phone for right around $599, which is quite a bit less than what you're going to find on pretty much any competing iPhone, and you're going to get a much larger screen than the iPhone 13. So I want to see in this episode, if I was to trade in my 13 here, how much more performance would I be getting if I go to the Galaxy S23 Plus? Let's begin with the boot up test in 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. Now, the Galaxy S23 Plus is going to give me a much larger screen, and they're going to give me the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which was designed for Galaxy, and the iPhone still has the A15 Bionic chipset, and this one does have 4 gigs of RAM, whereas this phone over here has 8 gigabytes of RAM. So the iPhone 13 still boots up faster than the latest S23 Plus, only by a little bit. Not by a lot, but definitely by a little bit. So one thing I have noticed, even pre-testing, because I always pre-test before I make these videos, is the iPhone 13, it doesn't feel like it's lost any performance whatsoever, which means that, like, did you really need to get a 14? Probably not. Will you even need a 15? Probably not. But if you want one, they'll probably have a dynamic island. Now, when it comes to unlocking these phones, you will be using Face ID on the iPhone 13, which does require a step in the swipe in. With the Galaxy S23, you do get the in-display fingerprint sensor, and I just missed on my first attempt. But usually with this in-display fingerprint sensor, you're going to be able to get in faster. Now, also, Samsung does allow you to bypass the lock screen, and unlike the Galaxy A series, these phones have very fast animations when it comes to going into the phone. So very quick to get into the S23 Plus, faster than that of the iPhone 13, which will require a swipe past Face ID. Now, when it comes to going through the general operating systems, you're going to find that both of these phones are pretty smooth. However, the Galaxy S23 Plus definitely feels a little bit faster just because they have the 120 Hz adaptive refresh, and this phone is built for power because the S23 Plus line, you know, it definitely feels closer to that of like an iPhone 14 Pro Max in terms of performance. So definitely, if you traded in for this phone, generally speaking, even the general OS operating system is going to feel more snappy than that of the iPhone 13. However, if you like iOS, you'll probably still like this. I'm just saying it doesn't feel quite as fast as the speed of the Galaxy S23 Plus. All right, guys, so here we are at the application test. You could see everything closed out for both phones. Let's go ahead now and go into calendar. You can see Apple had that. Calculator. Looked like the iPhone had that. Let's go into clock. That looked like the Samsung. These are so close. Samsung had that. We'll go into TikTok. Samsung had that. When actually in application, surprisingly, they don't look that much different. Samsung is a little smoother with that 120 Hz refresh, but the Apple applications are very well optimized. So I think the average person won't even notice basically anything. Samsung faster there. I do find that the Samsung feels snappier though. That's a Samsung on the right. We'll go into profile here. You'll see that's a Samsung on the right. And we'll scroll up out of here. We'll go into Groupon. And Groupon opens first on the right. Categories. Ooh, that was on the right. Things to do. Again on the right. So yeah, it's looking like the Samsung may be a little snappier for your day-to-day. But that iPhone 13 is not breaking a sweat whatsoever. Let's head up out of there. We'll go into Best Buy. And you'll see iPhone on that one. Products. Samsung. Look like iPhone on that one. Cell phones. Look like Samsung on that one. eBay. You're going to see eBay on the right. Let's click this. That might have been on the left. Swiping out of there. Let's head into Starbucks now on both phones. You'll see that's on the right. We'll go into Dead Trigger 2. See which one could launch this first. That was the iPhone. We'll hit play. Let me lower the volume here.
All right, let's go.
Hold on. Lower the volume there. And you'll see that both of these phones, very good when in game. We'll go into Asphalt 9, something a little bit more intensive. And then we'll go to Call of Duty after this one. And I was first on the iPhone. So the iPhone's still with that great GPU here. So we do definitely have a really strong GPU still on the iPhone. Not that the Samsung doesn't have one. It's really strong too. But the Samsung is a little bit better with sustained performance, I find, which means that throughout gaming, it will sustain higher frame rates, cooler actually, I find too, than the iPhone. So if you're looking for a phone that is bigger, more vibrant, and has better frame rates in game, that's going to be the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus. But if you're looking for really well optimized games, good updates, good new titles that come all the time, you're still going to like your iPhone 13. But you are getting, I think, an upgrade just because of the screen size and the better sustained performance on the Galaxy S23 Plus. So Galaxy S23 Plus, looks like the S23 Plus had it, but it had that little pop-up, so it delayed it a little bit. Overall, within this application, about the same. We'll go into Temple Run 2. And running these basic games should be nothing. These are basically easy for both of these. Hit play. And we'll find a similar experience, but now with the notch, you get a much more... Look, I could even see the trees over here. They're getting cut off on the notch up there. So, again, more immersive gaming. On the right, we'll hit Geekbench 6. I didn't see that one. Let me know which one that one was down below. We'll hit 3D Mark. That looked like the iPhone. And KineMaster. Now, this might give me an ad. I'm going to use this likely for... Yeah, it gave me an ad, but... So it's pretty much it's a wash there. It usually wins on the iPhone. We'll hit Mix. Faster on the Samsung there. Home. Let's click Video Edit. Faster on the Samsung. So when in application, KineMaster is faster in the Samsung. It's just there's a little ad on the Android version right away. But overall, throughout this test, you've seen that the iPhone was able to hold its own quite easily and actually won out in some areas. So the 13 has lost 0 performance. 14 has the same chip, so it's almost the same comparison. If you want to do the upgrade, $410 is a decent price off, and you're going to be able to get the $1,000 Galaxy S23 Plus for the price of something like a Pixel 7a or even something like a $500 Galaxy A54. So if you do want to try the Samsung ecosystem, the iPhone 13 is a really solid trade-in value. You could probably sell this on the street for more though. So let's run through the RAM management. Again, I've been very impressed with the iPhone's ability to hold these applications in background, but not really just that. It's the way these animations come out. Look at that. There's just like no choppiness. This is where Android really needs to improve, right here. When it comes to coming through and back in, it's like a buttery smooth experience. Now, I will say, I can still see that frame rate chop, in terms like not chop, but like the 60 hertz. I can still see it after looking at a 120 hertz. So that's still something I would prefer on the Samsung. But in terms of the iOS animations, they are fantastic. Let's go ahead and check out the Galaxy S23 Plus. Now, right off the bat, I can tell you this one looks better to the eye in terms of the 120 hertz. But did you see that right there? I know it's petty. It's super petty. What I'm talking about here, it really don't matter to a lot of people, but that just doesn't look quite as pretty as the animations I find on the iPhone. So if Samsung fixes this, and I think actually the Xiaomi phones actually have a little bit better animations than the Samsung phones, the way they look when they come in and out. Samsung has been going to work and been doing a really good job at improving this, and I'm not saying they're bad. They are much better than they used to be, and it's pretty much a flawless performer there. You've seen it didn't reload anything. So the Samsung did look a little bit faster, with the 120 hertz, but I will say in terms of the actual polish, I think Samsung could still do a little work on the polish of the animations They're probably like one UI away from getting it nailed down. So I'm not really concerned about it. Just wanted to mention it here. Both of them did pretty much flawless in the RAM management. All right, and let's go ahead and open up the cameras. What we're gonna do is see how fast these phones can actually open their cameras. So if you were to take a picture, which one is gonna provide you the faster speed? You don't wanna miss that moment. Let's go into camera 3, 2, go. You can see the iPhone faster there. Let me go ahead and close them out. 3, 2, go. Yep, the iPhone faster. Now let's see if I take the photos, which one's faster at taking it. So yeah, the iPhone a little faster there again. I'll just show this one more time. Yeah, so the iPhone faster, you'll probably, if you're a millisecond off, you'll probably miss the moment on the Samsung there. But the Samsung does have the double click like that. Now on the iPhone, you do have the ability to open it on the lock screen. You can also do that on the Samsung like that. So there is multiple ways to get into these cameras, but when actually taking a shot, they're pretty similar. Now, if they are already open in the background, let's see how they'll perform there. So give me a second here. Let's see how they'll perform if they're already opened. Yeah, so if they're already opened, looks like the iPhone's still faster if they were already open. iPhone opens that shutter faster and takes that photo faster. And our final Geekbench scores are in, and you could see that the iPhone, not with a crushing victory here, but definitely with a victory by just a little bit. Kind of weird. Older phone, better performance. Well, not really, because the A series has been ahead, but does it really take advantage of that power? I would argue not really. But it definitely shows that it can remain very fast for a long time, be updated for a long time. And again, the applications are super well developed. So, using an iPhone 13 now is exactly like using an iPhone 14. It feels exactly no different. And what this means is that truly the only changes you're going to get is if you upgrade to something that is either a different platform, or you go to a Pro model, or you consider a foldable device. Because other than that, the 13 models, even the S22 models, maybe even the S21 models are still pretty similar smartphones to what we have in 2023. So the market has matured to the point where we're only improving on camera specifications and software features and stuff like that. Not really too much on hardware-based stuff. However, we're going to be back here and see how they do in this, more of a gaming frame rate type of thing here in 3D Mark. I'll be back when they're done. Now see, it's no contest here in the Wildlife Extreme test. The Samsung with a pretty easy win. 3342 with an average frame rate of 20 FPS versus an average frame rate of 14.5. So I definitely would like to use the Galaxy S23 Plus easily when it comes to gaming. Now, if I scroll down, you're gonna find yourself an 83% better score than all devices on the Galaxy S23 Plus. Now, for the iPhone 13, it's gonna be a 62% better score than all devices. So at the end of the day, between these two phones, gaming is probably gonna be more sustained on the Samsung, and you'll probably have better single core performance on the iPhone, but in reality, the Samsung takes better advantage of its power with the ability to have all of these, amazing type of multitasking features, and it just uses its power a little bit more than the iPhone. However, if you wanted to do the upgrade, it's a pretty solid trade-in value for the iPhone 13. If not, I would say the 13 holds its own, and you might as well keep it for a while, at least to see what the 15 and the 16 brings. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. I will catch you all in the very next episode, and peace.